Fantastic. So obviously we ran a session on Wednesday. For those of you who missed it, the on-demand session will be posted too. But what we want to do is we've got a load of questions that have come in from people who've attended Wednesday's session, people who are really interested in accelerating their journey on TikTok. And I'm going to put some of those questions to you today, Katie, if that's all right.
Yeah, super.
Fantastic. I guess, can we start by giving a bit of an overview to yourself to anyone that wasn't able to join on Wednesday?
Yes, absolutely. So, hi everyone. I am Katie. I am a partnership manager here at TikTok, and I work really, really closely with Fran and her team on ultimately helping her community, which is all of you, to get started onto TikTok. And we've decided to launch this boot camp, which we are so excited about. So, as Fran said, we had session 1 on Wednesday, which is all about how to get started, and then creative is a really big topic. So Louisa went into a lot of detail on that one. Today, we wanted to take the opportunity for it to be a little bit more of a cozy room, in theory, hypothetically, but to really, really get into depth into the questions that were asked. And we do get asked the same questions all the time, and we want to make sure that we're answering those in detail, and, even having chats with people in the chat and the Q&A today. And then next week, we really go on Wednesday to cover performance and growth, right? How do you get the results from your TikTok ads and really, really develop that strategy for your business? So really, really looking forward to getting to know the group on the call today. And of course, anyone who can't make it today will be sharing everything with the group afterwards, and any questions that we don't cover today, we'll make sure to follow up with in the community group as well afterwards.
Fantastic. So we'll dive straight into it. I will apologize for the sound of my dog running around like a lunatic about 2 minutes ago. They never seem to get Zoom or event etiquette, but we'll dive straight into it. We've got a number of questions that have come in through the form, and I can see we've already got a question in the chat. So let's get going, Katie. So the first question that we've been asked is around sound, and it's, why can't I access trending sounds on TikTok?
Yeah, so this comes up all the time. So the way that TikTok profiles are set up, so we'll start with the TikTok profile, which means your business account, right? Some of you may have personal accounts, so like mine, Katie TikTok, whatever my username is. And that's a personal account. But, Fran from the Great British Entrepreneur, because I know you guys are getting started on TikTok, that's going to be a business account. So once you have a business account, you're not able to use those like chart music, which by Meghan Trainor or whoever it is, and the music that is going on. And there is reasons for that. So it's all to do with legal and access. So you need, as a business, permission to use those signs. So it can be quite a lengthy process. I don't know if anyone on this call owns their own song rights, or I know we had the presenter at the awards who did the Go Compare, like, for example, all of that music is owned by the Go Compare brand. We can't just use that for business purposes ourselves. So it's really, really important that you're making sure to use the signs available to you. And from a personal standpoint, it's very different. You're not selling anything, you're just using it for your own use, and that's why you're able to use it in that circumstance. We will share, and I can do a quick screen share at the end, kind of show how you use the Creative Center to look at the top trending signs that are approved for business use. And the other thing is you can make your own, right? Sometimes it's you just talking in the background, but that is why that you can't access the trending songs as you see them from a chart music perspective, but there is trending signs and background noises that you can still use.
Great answer. It makes a lot of sense. It was certainly something that confused me when I first went from, being a personal user to a business user. So I think to get clarity on that is really key. We've also been asked quite a lot whether people can upload an ad without sound. Is that something they can do?
Yeah, so actually, no, you can't. So it's a really interesting one on TikTok, because I suppose compared to the other platforms from an advertising perspective, a still photo doesn't require a sound in the background, but due to TikTok's nature, and I think anyone who's either on it already a lot, so I think the average time people are spending is a movie length time a day, which is, a lot of time. So I'm sure people are quite familiar with it. But for those who are just getting started, it's an entertainment platform. So it's not something that you just go and you scroll in the background. Like, you're normally completely zoned in. You can't listen to anyone chatting to you in the background. So sound is a really, really big part of that. And when your business is featuring on the For You page, or you're trying to get people's attention, sound is a part of that. So it can be your voice, it can be a noise, it can be music, it could be someone singing in the background, whatever that is. But sound is really, really important, and you must have it from an advertising background. You don't need it for your organic posts, so your business posts necessarily, but you do need it for ads that actually not run without some sound in the background.
Brilliant. Thank you, Katie. The next question we had, obviously, if we look at the Great British Entrepreneur Awards ecosystem, there's lots and lots of different types of businesses. And I think it's very obvious how certain brands can use TikTok. But I'm not surprised that we've had this question. So my product is not physical. Is there therefore an issue for me advertising on TikTok?
Yeah, and we were looking at the types of businesses that sign up. So we know there's a lot of food and drink businesses. We know there's a lot of retail and e-commerce kind of businesses that feature in that space. And then similarly, we have like media and content, so potentially businesses, like an agency or running that type of stuff. But as well as that, it's service, right? So it's not necessarily your product businesses. The short answer is yes, you absolutely can. And what I'm going to do at the end of this is have a quick look through some of the case studies that we have, not only in the UK, but just broader in Europe and even globally, for people to kind of have a quick look at. But what I will say is there is no issue at all, as long as you're compliant from an advertising standpoint. So there's some topics that you can't advertise around, which again, if someone just wants to resubmit like particular business, we'll be able to check that out for them. But from a service perspective, lead generation. So if you generate leads, like you're a recruitment agency, or you just want to hire someone new for your company, that's not a product. That's very, very able to do from an advertising or just an organic perspective. Other things we have a lot of one-man businesses, on one-man and one-woman businesses that offer like a physical service. So it's like plumbing or carpentry. They are also on the platform. So it's not necessarily a product and a website that you purchase from, but you absolutely can advertise around all of those. And if whoever this question has come from wants again to reach out with the activities, like maybe that's something that we can have a look at together. But yes, in short, yes, if it's not physical, absolutely you can advertise, and I'll kind of give you a bit of an idea of other businesses that are doing that already.
Brilliant. Thanks, Katie. And just to encourage anybody that's on here that hasn't yet submitted their question, you can use the Q&A function. I see we've had one come in, and we will certainly get to them today. The next question that we had from the last session was, I'd love to get a better understanding on best practices as a service-based business. So it's a similar question to the last one, but they've asked specifically what the difference is between Ads Manager and Creative Platform, or are they the same? And then there's a comment at the end that says cost for ads. So I think that they're wondering what, if there's a cost difference as well.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's a great question, because I know from the outset, we showcase a lot of e-commerce businesses, so people can feel like, oh, maybe it's not for me. But I'll kind of I'll cover on the service-based businesses, as I said, but to talk quite top line about the Ads Manager platform and the Creative Platform. Again, I have these all open and ready to showcase. So the Ads Manager platform is one size fits all for any and all businesses that want to come and use it. So similar to the other Ads Managers platform that will be using, to run your search ads or other social ads. The Creative Platform is slightly different. So that's more of like a research tool. So that's where you're able to have a look at those trending signs for business, or just generally. You can have a look at the top ads. So they're two separate platforms. The Ads Manager is where you go in and service, and that's how you set up your ads and it's yours. The Creative Platform is more like a service where you can go in and check things out. But I will show the difference of them, and they all kind of link together, but I'll send through the two URLs so I know people can check out both. From a cost for ads perspective, and particularly to relate this back to the service-based industry, so all advertising starts at £20 per day. That's the minimum ad group budget in the UK. And so that does not vary. Now, of course, depending on every business, and this could be even within services, budgets vary massively. So what I would just say is, the cost for ads is all based on what you want to achieve, but the minimum spend is £20. So very accessible for those that just want to give it like a go at the start. And if you want to, you know, launch in with those larger budgets, that's, you know, that Sarah, our sales rep and stuff can help with that. But yeah, I think showing the two platforms will help answer this question. And then from a cost perspective, we'll actually touch on that next week too, and we'll give some kind of budgeting advice depending on what the needs are. But starts at £20, and then up from that is really dependent on what the business wants out of TikTok.
Brilliant. And obviously there's, you know, full access to analytics, so they can see what is performing and what to maybe invest more spend in if that is performing there as well.
Exactly. And it's something that we hear back from all the time, is how quick TikTok is.
Yeah.
Like, you'll know if something's not working, which sometimes it's a bit disappointing because you might have put a lot of work into one video and you're running it as an ad and it's just not taking off. But the results are pretty instantaneous. So if it's not working, you're not really going to waste any money on it. It just, you know, it won't spend the money if TikTok doesn't believe it's going to do what you want it to do. And then on the flip side of that, if it's going to do well, it can just absolutely take off, and that's organically and paid. So it's a really quick results platform. But yeah, Fran, as you said, like, you know, the analytics and the results are all in there, and we'll kind of give you a bit of an overview on how to analyze those and what to look out for next week.
Yeah, brilliant. I think from my perspective, what was refreshing is how easy the analytics are to digest. And I think that sometimes on some of the platforms, if you're not, you know, a lot of us are small business owners wearing a lot of hats, and it's really hard sometimes to understand, you know, what's under the bonnet on some of these analytics platforms. But I think TikTok have certainly done it really well. The next question we've got is around creative. And I think this is going to be a really interesting one, but how do I improve my content organically?
Yeah.
Broad question.
Super question. And do you know what? It's something I get all the time. I know any presence that we've had at any of your events and any other event I've attended, this comes up all the time. People are showing me their TikTok profiles. People are asking me about it. Maybe they're showing me one video they've had that just reached it, you know, a few thousand people, and then they're like, I can't get back to there. So we completely know that it's TikTok, like, is kind of made or broken by your content. So we know that it's super, super important. So how can you improve your content organically? So the way that I like to think about it is, and I think the creative brief in this gives you a good of an idea, even if you just did the top half of it. So if you sit down, you know your business and your brand better than anyone else. Even if you talk to me about it for a couple of minutes, you know, I can only kind of make assumptions or ask you certain questions to help you. But what I would say is sit down and figure out, you know, what is it that makes you stand out as a brand, or what is it that you know is unique to you, or what's your personality, or what is your, you know, your main USP throughout that. And then kind of let that drive your organic content. So you almost create a content strategy, right? So for the Great British Entrepreneurs, maybe you would split that between your different award ceremonies or the different brands within that. Or maybe you'd have different multiple. But for simplicity, let's just say there's one TikTok account, and then you would break that down into the 3 different brands within that. Then you can kind of have a look at, like, okay, what types of videos should we do for each one, you know? So maybe it's a promo video, maybe it's a Q&A, maybe it's customer feedback, maybe it's behind the scenes to run in one of the first business festivals in the UK, you know, like different things that you can come up with. So you've almost got a checklist of different content to go off with. So when you go and say, I need to make a TikTok, you're not just stood there with your phone, because that overwhelms me. Like, if someone told me I have to go and make TikTok today, I would just start to like sweat and panic. So the one thing I would say is the first start is come up with a plan. So call it, you know, the start to test those videos and see what's. Then you can really start to apply the tips and tricks that we would have shared. So in terms of shooting the video, keep it really simple, right? Once you have these categories, like call it behind the scenes, find your stories, and Q&A, go with those 3. And you'll definitely be able to come back and say, one of those is not working and one of them is working really well. And then you start to go, okay, Q&A is brilliant. Let's keep going with that and maybe tweak something else. So it's a lot of testing and learning. But the one thing I would say is if you just sit down and make a quick plan with about 9 bullet points, like 9 types of videos you're going to make that fall under the category, try those, sit back down in a couple of weeks and then go, okay, let's have a look at the views, the engagement, the analytics. The tips within that, then quite broadly, is don't overcomplicate the shooting. You can just do it on your phone. Use the in-app TikTok features like the signs, the green screen, the stickers, whatever else is in there. And then just let your audience basically tell you what they like and don't. And that'll come up in the likes, the video views, and everything else. So come up with a plan, stick with it for the few weeks or the months, and then really sit down and go, okay, where are we on what we decided to do, and then make tweaks on that. And I think it gives you great structure, and it means whoever is looking after your TikTok, even if it's not you, that they have a plan as well, you know, that everyone can come back to and say there's solid results on this, and where do we go from there? So a really, really lengthy question, but it is something that we get all the time. And we will share some creative tips and stuff afterwards that are really easy to digest in the forum as well.
Brilliant. And I think it leads nicely on to the next question, because a lot of tips can be gleaned by watching what other brands are doing really well on TikTok and how they're performing. So we've had a question in of where can I access case studies, you know, looking maybe particularly at a particular sector or a particular niche or what have you. Where can people who want to get started on TikTok access those?
Yeah, so if you literally just Google TikTok success stories, that's how you'll get it up. But we will share the link, and I'll kind of show you at the end of this. I'll do a screen share and show you the functionality. So you can filter by country, you can filter by campaign type, you can filter by you know, the industry as well, which is going to be particularly important for the services. But I will show you that, and then, you know, we can also have a look at the Creative Center, which has a different angle on it. But I'll do a screen share at the end to get to that, and we'll share the links so everyone has them.
Brilliant. Sounds good to me. We've got one here around, I'm pretty certain this is a typo and it's meant to be algorithms. Are there algorithms that they should keep in mind when creating content and adverts?
So what I would say is just again, focus on your community and your audience and let them drive it, because that is the way that the pages work, you know, and that is the way that the ads and everything is ranked, and that's how they're viewed. So it's basically, if someone really likes it and I send it to you, for example, Fran, and you send it to Lewis and she sends it to Annabelle, that all starts to build up the engagement. And then TikTok's kind of going, oh, you know, this maybe is a video that we should be pushing out to more people. So it's all about getting the content right first. Don't worry too much about what's going on in the background, but it's working on that engaging content that is either very shareable, like the example I just gave, or very watchable or very engaging, and that will drive it. And then based on that, you'll be able to see the learnings yourself about what's working and, you know, maybe something that's not working so well.
That's a really good piece of advice, because I think that, you know, obviously the Great British Entrepreneur Awards, we call ourselves the Great British Entrepreneur Awards and Community, and it's a bit of a mouthful, but what that community can be is support. And I think that if we're saying that it can help by getting engagement from other individuals and other brands, then I would encourage people in the community room to be sharing your latest TikToks and getting the feedback and engagement and shares from the rest of the community. If anyone's not had the link for that, or it's disappeared into a folder in their inbox for our TikTok Bootcamp community room, please do drop us a message and we will get that straight over to you. But I think it could end up being a really valuable resource, but also just for a bit of feedback on, you know, what do you think of this video, and then beyond that, obviously sharing and engaging on the platform.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's great. And, you know, sometimes I get asked that too, like, what do I think of a video? I can think the video is fantastic, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to, you know, perform in the way that you want it to do. So yeah, Fran, great advice. It's always good to just hear feedback and tips, and then it can be small tweaks, very small tweaks, like you might cut a few seconds off it can take off, but yet lean into the community and to each other, because you're all going to be going through this journey at the same time. And you know, that's really the whole thing that we wanted to create here. So yeah, definitely put it in. We'll be able to check it out too in the community group and offer any advice that we think would be helpful.
Amazing. And Karen, I can see your note saying that you'd like the link to the group. No problem at all, because Perky Blenders, I can see doing absolutely incredible on TikTok. Still one of my favorite business names I've ever come across. We've got a few questions that come in the chat. There's one more that came from last event, and I think it's quite specific, but someone sort of asking around TikTok Shop, and they had quite a specific question around being able to view their products. But it'd be great to give a bit of an overview to people that maybe don't know what TikTok Shop is and offers, Katie.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's for anyone in the particularly retail. You don't have to be e-commerce set up yet, but anyone in the retail industry, that does sell, and this is product focused for the time being. What TikTok Shop is a first party solution for people being able to buy your products, right? So that's the very top level description, but what does that really mean? So whenever you create a website, typically you might use another provider like Shopify or WooCommerce, or you're building it yourself. And then you list your products on that. And then from an advertising perspective on TikTok, you link that website to the ads manager. You run an ad saying, hey, I sell white jumpers. You should buy a white jumper. Here's the link to my website where you complete that purchase. The difference in TikTok Shop is, again, hey, I want to sell my white jumpers. I am going to, run an ad talking about them. And then instead of the purchase happening on your website, so www.whitejumpers.com, it's going to happen on your TikTok Shop. So the setup is slightly different. So from the consumer standpoint, if you're just going to buy a white jumper, same thing, you look at something, you buy it, you complete the purchase, and then delivered, as normal. The difference is the back end stuff that happens. So it's how you set that up. So we've got some amazing case studies. I would say there's probably some businesses within your community, Fran, if not even within this group, that are doing amazing. The results from a return on ad spend is incredible. And so I'll see if I can share some of those. And the particular question on the TikTok Shop, I can't answer that from the product perspective, but I will see if I can share they have a help center and a ticket link within there. But for those that are interested, that's very top line level what it is. We are going to run a lot more educational series around that this year. But again, if you just search for it online, so TikTok Shop, you can kind of have a checkout for yourself. People can sign up there, and it's really, really easy. But it's amazing. It's a very new thing. And I know a lot of these businesses are going to be first movers, and they're really, really tech savvy. So it would be super for them to get started. But that's it, very top level. And if we have a big interest for it, we can actually run another session on it. But that's where I'll just leave it for the TikTok Shop for now. And again, if we've got an interest, absolutely, we can look to provide more information to those people.
Brilliant. Thank you, Katie. I'm going to go to some questions that we've had on today's session, if that's all right with you.
Yeah.
Amazing. So Alan asks, TikTok is primarily a platform for short form videos and tends to be more focused on entertainment than sales. What are your thoughts on businesses that should be aware of TikTok's policies and guidelines to ensure their content is appropriate and IP protected?
Yeah, so a super question. And I think this is where, from the top level, we are an entertainment platform, but we're also a business platform that's focused on getting businesses results. And we completely appreciate it can be tricky to get the balance between entertaining content and content that converts. And I think that's where TikTok has been quite new, right, compared to the other platforms, because before it was more sales focused, and then you had the different type of content. So to answer your question on how you can do that, it's again, like we're saying about testing, right? So start to test your content. It can still be sales and conversion focused for products or services, but just in a slightly more entertaining way. And again, entertaining doesn't necessarily mean funny. It can be educational, like education is entertainment. In a way, this webinar is a form of entertainment today. So it's looking about your own business and how you can entertain or educate or inspire or influence users to use your product or service or visit your website. Sorry, my internet just lagged a second there. Through the type of content that you do. So yeah, fantastic question on that. It definitely is hard to get the balance. But the more that you start to post, you will see and advertise Some posts are better at entertaining and it's good for brand awareness, and some will be better at conversion. And it's about getting that balance, you know, that's kind of the secret to the TikTok strategy.
Thank you. Rick asks, what if you switch to a business account? What happens to all your previous content that features commercial music? Will it flag the post that it affects? And can you still use trending original sounds?
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure your commercial music previously will all be fine, as in the trending sounds, those videos still stay as is. Because I know I can switch my account from a business to a personal like multiple times a day if I wanted to, you know, just from an example standpoint. So the old videos should be absolutely fine. I don't believe that they will be flagged as anything there. I mean, you're still running the risk, but I don't think you're going to get a platform notification or anything like that. Can I just see the end of that question? I can see it answered here. With a flag, can I still use trending original signs? So yeah, great question. Some of them are cleared for commercial use and some will not be. So there's definitely ways around that. I know there was the Korn song, which I'm sure now, if I remember it, it's going to get stuck in my head for the rest of the day. But even though I don't think you could use the Korn song initially, I could see brands having Korn in their videos. So although they weren't using the sound, they were still getting involved in the trend. So another great question. I'll send through, we have a great one pager that I sent Fran actually about the business accounts and adding your link in bio and everything. And that's in the community group. So we'll reflag that there so everyone can see it. But yeah, great question, Rick. So thank you for that one.
Thanks, Katie. Karen asks something that I wonder quite a lot, actually. How many hashtags should we use?
Yeah, so great question. So there used to be a really low character limit on TikTok. So I can't remember the actual numbers, but like you were really limited. So there was a maximum number of hashtags and words that you could fit in. That has been completely opened up now. Like the captions can be screens long, not even just one. So technically there, the limit is endless from a hashtagging perspective. What I would say is try to pick maybe about 5 to 10 that's relevant to your business. I know TikTok Made Me Buy It is a great one, particularly if it's a purchase, or it could be a service as well. And then whatever's related to your brand, you know, if it's coffee, for instance, there's a question on coffee and you're a coffee brand, use coffee. Search for the hashtag coffee in your search bar, and I'll show you how you do that. Look at the other videos that are in coffee, what hashtags are there, use and start to copy those. So it's a little bit of digging around, but actually in a couple of minutes, you'd probably find 10 to 20 hashtags that you could use related to your industry. So start with about 5 to 10 that you think are super relevant. And again, kind of keep looking at that, what's trending around your industry and your keywords, and kind of go from there.
Wonderful. Another coffee related question. It's from Karen again, but it's how do we, so it's obviously relevant to anyone. How do we appear in the search categories, for example, for coffee?
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure, I'm just opening my TikTok app here myself. I think this is whenever you search you search for coffee in the search bar, and then that comes up. Let me just see. That is all due to hashtags. And then again, TikTok always starts playing whenever you open it up. Yeah, whenever you search something there, it's all to do with how your because I don't know if people can see it, but if anyone goes online to their TikTok and search for coffee, it's literally all types of coffee content. So if you want to search for coffee, make sure your content is coffee heavy, making it, talking about it, featuring it really in detail, you know, and I'm sure it will be. And use your hashtags, you know, make sure that your brand, your website, everything is set up so that from a TikTok perspective, they know without you even making a video, this is a coffee brand, you know. Same for if you were a fashion brand, or if you were very niche, like you know, a lot of the food and beverage, you know, the other ones might be snacks, for instance. So it all all kind of comes together. And you know, from your content to your hashtags to your captions to your link in bio to your name, and that all helps you get featured there. But the hashtags are a big part of it.
I was on mute. We've got one more question that's coming about the link about the TikTok shop. So I'm pretty certain we can send that in the follow-up, can't we, Katie?
Absolutely. And I'll just open it up here now too so everyone can see it. I'll actually just jump for a screen share. And I think just to show everyone the couple of things that we were talking about here. So first thing is success stories. So if you just, I'm pretty sure I just typed in TikTok success stories, and because I'm on this page all the time, it came up, but TikTok for business and our success stories. So if I scroll down to here, this is where you're able to do that filtering, right? Which is super important. So we've nearly 1,000 on there. And we are going to stick to the UK because that is the audience that we are speaking with today. And then we'll let that kind of filter down from an industry perspective. Let's just have a look there. Like professional services is like potentially the service industry that we were looking at. So here's kind of a couple of different ones that were not necessarily products. Break room, I was actually reading about this the other day. This is to do with interviews of sign-ups. So definitely check this out. So just to go back again, so you're in your success stories, you can filter by region, you can just have a look at the industry, business type, so small business, large business, agency, because I know we have a big variety on here as well. The goal, so this is just like what are they focused on, which will also be super relevant. So yeah, check out our case studies. They're brilliant, they're uploaded all the time. I believe Only Curls is on there, which is part of Fran's community. And there used to be a couple more just with a website shift. They've not been added yet. Love Raw was one of them, with the healthy snacks. So yeah, definitely check the case studies out. A second thing I want to show is the Creative Center. So we had a specific question on this one, and just to talk through what the Creative Center is. So this is what it opens up with. Again, search it in whatever search function that you use on your computer or your phone. And then this is what you're opened up to. So I'm going to just talk you through a couple of them and then we'll go into detail on one. So inspiration, so top ads dashboard. So we'll have a quick look at what top ads are trending in the UK. Keyword insights, so this is really interesting, that could help for whoever asked about hashtags there. Creative insights, so this is research. So there's some research in there on different generations, so Gen Z to Gen X plus. Creative strategies and showcases. We've got our trends. This is where we're looking at hashtags, songs, creators, TikTok videos, all the other stuff, different tools in there. And the audio library, which of course we touched on at the start. So to just dig deeper into a couple of these things. So top ads in the UK on TikTok. So we've got pets here, a lightsaber, it looks like, sorry, they play when you hover over them. Again, you can look at lots of different things here. If we actually look for coffee, Karen, you'll be your lucky day. We're going to stick with the coffee theme. You can see all the top ads here from a coffee perspective. So really interesting. You can do a bit of competitor research, for example, or just get some inspiration in there. And again, search for lots of different things within this. If we also look at keyword insights in here, so these are kind of the different keywords that are being used at the moment. So again, it's kind of defaulted into Ireland now. Let's just have a look for coffee and see what comes up for us. Coffee, okay, not populating. I think this is a new feature, but let's just clear this and see what else we can come up with. 50% off, okay. So lots of really interesting thing here, and you can kind of play the related videos. And to have a look at the hashtags, because we were asked particularly about this. So this is where you're able to see what's trending in the UK. If you operate in other businesses, definitely take a look at this. Ramadan, I was in London this week. The lights on Oxford Street were gorgeous. So I know this is a very, very big trending topic in the UK at the moment, which is great to see. And again, if you do the last 30 days, this will probably vary a little bit. Mother's Day, the FA Cup comes up a lot for the football fans in here. So a great thing for you to look at there. Songs again, so this is your like general songs, and then approved for business use, what we won't be able to use for our ads, and on that. And then final thing I just want to show you is creators. So sometimes I find that people can be like, oh, the creators are too big for us, but you can also have a look here at the smaller ones. So depending on the number of followers that they might have, and you can search for it on the creator marketplace. And just to have a look here, You can search through, like, this is a follower, a creator with 99,000 followers, and they got 2K video views. So, you know, don't think that just because someone has nearly 100,000 followers that they're going to have 100,000 video views on each one. And the same for your business. You know, there's kind of a lesson in there. So this is the Creative Center. I'm actually going to just put this straight into the chat now so everyone can bookmark it. I'm also going to do the Creative Centers, or the case studies, straight in there so you can have a look, bookmark them, save them. We will send them afterwards, so don't worry. And was there one more thing I wanted to show you? It was our TikTok shop. So again, I will put this in so you can have a look, have a bit more information in there. So how to sell a TikTok shop, you know, if you want to register, a bit more detail. And then we have some brilliant case studies down there. So as I said, if we have a big appetite in this group or otherwise for a TikTok shop, we'll look to see what we can do. But that's just a pretty top level whistle-stop tour on the different functions we have available. And Fran, I can see one more question in the chat.
There you go. You don't even need me, Katie. I was just about to say that.
Okay, so when uploading, should we use the TikTok caption generator, or is using a third-party editor okay? So James, question from James. Both, right? What I would say is on that one, because I can't answer from experience, what I would say is use both. And test it maybe with different things, so, and see if the results are any better. You could even test it with the same video, you know, for one day or a few days. You do it with the TikTok caption generator, try it, see how it gets on. Then you can kind of hide it where only you can see that video, post it again with the different third-party editor, and just see if the results are any different. So just a little bit of experimentation, because, you know, sometimes it can be a combination of lots of things. But the main lesson here, and I suppose in all of it, is test and learn, and just try lots of different things. But great question, James, and thank you for that. But try both and see, and you'll be able to tell them, the community group, what you think works better.
Amazing, Katie. I think that brings us to the end of the questions that have been asked so far. We know that what will happen is likely you'll take away some of the tips and advice that Katie's given, and a number of other questions will come up from there. So what we will do again is we'll immediate follow-up to this, we'll send you all the link to the community room so you can head in there and continue the conversation, not just with TikTok, but obviously with other entrepreneurs and other people who are running brands online, and particularly on TikTok, who are in exactly the same situation as you. And I think it's always less daunting if we approach something new together and get tips, advice and support along the way. So Katie, thank you so much. It's been a really, really interesting information-packed session, where I think it's always great where the questions come from the audience as opposed to the other way around. I think it's a really interesting way we've done it today.
Yeah, absolutely. And we will use those questions too to drive the session on Wednesday, you know, to make sure they're answered there, and continue to answer the questions as they come in over the next week. So keep them coming. We're here to help. And we know there's loads of questions that are asked and that you need help with. So have a look at the activity books. I think that's actually going to help with some of the questions. And we'll do our best to get back to you on everything else in the next week.
Brilliant. Katie, thank you so much. Have a great weekend, everybody, and speak to you all soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Cheers. Bye.